Ya la mitad de la población venezolana en Colombia está empleada.
Already half of the Venezuelan population in Colombia is employed, already contributes to our social security system, and produces wealth from my point of view. And the other half is yet to be seen. In that other half, it could happen, even though today it does not happen, that they return. Our figures indicate neither an avalanche toward Colombia, as we feared, nor the opposite. Here the danger becomes Ecuador. They go south. This only arises in the jungles, so we are talking about jungle areas, in the mountains where our cities are located. There are no such crops or violence. But here, as this goes south, the problem becomes Ecuador. Ecuador is not prepared for this avalanche of drug trafficking. Why does it go south? Because we've been effective in Colombia. Not to completely eliminate the problem altogether, but all our balance indicates that it is becoming increasingly difficult for the drug trafficker in Colombia to get cocaine out of Colombia. Colombian drug trafficking goes south, goes through the port of Ecuador, and there are some kingpins there. I handed that list to the president. They do not live in Colombia. The second line lives in Colombia with weapons in the jungles and in the mountains, but the first line does not. And the first line lives in luxury cities around the world. What I said at the beginning. If we reactivate, there are 14 million people there with blood that comes from Venezuela and with blood that comes from Colombia, crossing the same town. And we use the energy potential, one that comes from the sun and the winds, and another that comes from the subsoil. And we carry out an economic reactivation there and stop any sudden migratory flow. It is the product of a great disinformation bubble that was built between President Trump, whom I did not know, among several presidents of Latin America, starting with the president of Ecuador and myself, and how these balls of disinformation can lead us to increasingly acute conflicts, even in other circumstances, to wars. Today, there is a trade war with Ecuador between the two countries, and it is fundamental to burst those disinformation bubbles and reestablish frank and truthful, real communication, not mediated. Today, we would have to look at the current situation, and that is a bit the purpose of these words. How can we operate positively in a Venezuela that is undoubtedly wounded, confused, and in a transition? Let us put in quotation marks. I would say before an expectant people who have seen their guides, their beacons they trusted, lost a little, and now seek them. They should emerge from the people themselves. But let us say that the circumstance is such that it is looking around, and that we must finally call on it to make decisions. A change in the energy model is essential. Coal-based Colombia and Venezuela are extremely rich in coal and extremely rich in heavy oil. Ecuador has some oil. The Panama Canal, well, it is dying, but it is the Panama Canal. So here we have concentrated an old way of seeing the economy in which we have lived. And the United States has also taken its own economic benefit. But in my opinion, it already has cracks. And that is a bit of what I would like to convey to you, because there is no need to close this economy brutally, but rather to open other parallel paths that could help us at this very moment to resolve conflicts. And they could already, if we want, with brief maintenance, because the infrastructure has deteriorated somewhat. Export gas to whoever needs it, Venezuelan gas that today is burning flares and is worse, let us say, for the world. Or by exporting the gas, free up oil and then make it more profitable for it to come out. Or use the oil that has not been used from the south of Zulia, close to our border with Santander. The pipes are already there. Refine it in Barrancabermeja next to the Magdalena River and take it out.